Hello viewers, welcome to ReachIvy's webinar series, where we speak with admissions officers from top schools around the world so they can answer your questions and guide us in the admissions process and your career aspirations. Today we have with us Shelly Heinrich, who's the Interim Associate Dean and Director of Marketing and MBA Admissions at Mcdonough School of Business at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. I'm going to pass it over to Shelly to introduce herself now.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. My name is Shelly. As he mentioned, I'm the Interim Associate Dean here of MBA Admissions at Georgetown University. I've been with Georgetown for almost 4 years now, and I'm really excited to be a part of a university that continues to grow and excel and innovate here. I've also worked in the MBA admissions world for around 7 years and worked at 5 different business schools, so bring a variety of experiences and depth of what it means to obtain graduate business education. Thanks for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you, Shelly. Let's quickly jump into some of the questions that we have received from students, and usually we get very often while working with students. The first would be, could you tell us a little, give us a little background of Mcdonough School of Business, like where is it located, some history, what's the mission like, what's the philosophy?
Yep, very happy to do so. So the mission at Georgetown is to develop principled leaders with a global mindset to be in service to business and society. We have a new dean that just joined us this past summer, Dean Almeida. He's been a professor here for the last 20 years and specializes in strategy and innovation. And that is exactly where he is taking Mcdonough. We are innovating, we're thinking strategically about what the school needs next in order to educate the next generation of leaders. And we've seen already significant accomplishments under his leadership. So just this last week, Financial Times ranked Georgetown number 16. We've climbed up to number 16, which is fantastic. In December, Financial Times also ranked the graduate business programs at Mcdonough number 12. And so, you know, our goal at Georgetown is kind of 3 pillars: to provide you with a global mindset, to provide you with a principled leadership education, and to provide you with a location in service to business and society in Washington, D.C. So with the global mindset, we have over 43 countries represented in the MBA program here. So as an international student, you can feel confident knowing that coming to Mcdonough, you are going to be amongst an entirely diverse international class, learning from people all over the world that will enhance your education. In addition, about 3/4, about 76% of our students have lived, worked, or studied abroad outside of their home country. And so again, just bringing that international diverse thought to our program, you will fit right in as a student coming from India or coming internationally. Principled leadership is important to us. We believe truly that it is important to definitely learn how to lead inside the classroom. You will take 3 classes where you will do that. But outside of the classroom, where you will develop hands-on leadership skills, is very important to us. So one example of this is something we launched this last year called the Executive Challenge. So imagine this: all of your cohort members of about 270 students will come here on one Friday in April. You'll arrive at 7 a.m. You'll be in your full suit. You'll be polished and ready to go because you'll be meeting over 100 C-suite executive alumni who have flown in to Mcdonough for one day to help coach you through an entire long day of case competitions amongst your peers. And so you'll go through a series of a day where you'll work with a group and team, solving complex challenges and problems, and receiving both positive and constructive feedback from our alum. At the end of the day, it will end in a networking reception with these alum who've flown in. And so it is a fantastic hands-on way to gain that practical leadership skill experience. We also have a third component, is that in service to business and society, kind of that intersection of, yes, it's important to make a profit in business, but it's also important to make a social impact. And we do that by leveraging here our location in Washington, D.C. at the intersection of business and society to connect you not only certainly with Fortune 100 and 500 companies, but also with NGOs and nonprofits where you can do pro bono consulting to practice and hone in on your leadership skills and your consulting skills. Students also get an opportunity through our global business experience to consult for an international client as well outside of the US. So there's many different ways that we support the three pillars of global principled leadership and service to business and society.
Thank you, Shelly. I think the commitment to innovation and building a global community shows through everything you've told us. And that kind of takes me to something you already touched upon. So the program looks really interesting and innovative. But if you had to go into some specifics of how does a degree look like, what are the strengths? I mean, what sets the Mcdonough MBA program at a different category than other MBAs? How's the teaching style like? And any other distinct features that you can tell us about it?
Wonderful. I'm really excited to talk about our program, the full-time MBA program. So it is 21 months, a standard full-time MBA program. It's 60 credits. But what I think is very impactful is our focus on the career return on investment. You all are certainly pursuing an MBA because you want to gain the academic skills, but also very importantly is the career focus. And so you will begin working with our Career Center starting in June before you even begin the program. So we'll have a series of 3 webinars that we will lead you through in June to work on getting your resume, your cover letter, and accomplishments record all created in a standard MBA style format. We know you all have fantastic accomplishments that you've done in your career, and so we want to help guide you into a format that our MBA employers are looking for. Then you'll have a call in July with your career coach, and this will be a time for you to talk about what your career goals are so that they can guide you through how you're going to meet those career objectives over the course of your year. And then you dive in August to what is going to be your most intense month here at Mcdonough. So in August, you can expect to be on campus for 3 weeks, probably for 12-hour days. But it's fun, and it's a way for you to form long-lasting bonds with your cohort mates at the very beginning, but also to do what we call a structure of global industries class, where you will get a little taste or highlight of each subject area of business school, and as you are solving a complex case problem. At the end of that 3 weeks, you will present your resolution or solution to this case problem in front of a panel of judges, and you'll leave this class with an understanding of what you want to know in business school, perhaps what you realize you don't know and need to know more of, and perhaps what you're interested in and want to delve in more, perhaps in the elective areas. Then the first year of business school, you spend doing most of your core coursework in a cohort of about 60 students. So again, it's reinforcing this community and family here that we have at Georgetown. In the second year is really all electives, and you get to choose from over 100 elective areas, and you don't have to declare a concentration. So you literally can look at yourself and say, what are the skill gaps and knowledge gaps that I have, and how can these electives here at Georgetown help me to fill them? And so you pick and choose your elective areas. I mentioned at the very beginning about our global business experience. You'll do this at the end of your second year. You will consult for an international client for 4 to 6 weeks on solving a complex problem, and then you'll go abroad for 1 week to present your consulting recommendations to your client. And then you graduate, and then you become a part of the Mcdonough Alumni Network, where you still have access to the Career Center for life.
Thank you, Shelly. What was really striking was the commitment to career readiness for the graduates of the program by even doing the webinar and working with the career placement office before they begin the program. And that's definitely something that I have not come across often. Getting into a little more specifics of the program, really, what a question that a lot of students have is, how does a classic day on campus look like? And I know that it can be different experiences based on what you choose. And you sort of touched upon that with the example of the first month on campus being crazy, hectic, but also fun. Could you probably tell us a little bit about how the classrooms are, how the professors are like, what can one expect the day to look like on campus?
Yeah, definitely. So as a full-time student, you'll take classes Monday through Thursday. So you don't have classes actually on Friday. Fridays are set aside for career-related activities. So every Friday in the fall, we have a career day that is designated by industry. So one Friday may be consulting day, one may be finance day, one may be energy day or marketing day. And these full days are mini industry conferences where you get exposed to understanding what job opportunities are in those industries, hearing from alumni and employers on how they hire and how to get most prepared. And then when you move into more of the winter and spring, these Fridays are fantastic for interview days, right? So as you start interviewing for your internships in your first year and then your second year for your full-time jobs, these Fridays can be very helpful both to interview with employers that come to campus, but also should you want to travel to other locations to interview as well. During Monday through Thursday, your class schedule is a little bit different. You're not going to be taking classes for 8 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. They're going to be scheduled throughout the day. So you would have time during your breaks to meet with your teams to prepare for class projects or class presentations, to perhaps meet with your clubs to plan for different organizations or events of the clubs that you're involved in, and to get involved in different employer information sessions. Employers typically come to campus right in the late afternoon or evening every week, and so it's a great opportunity also to meet those employers that you're targeting as well. In terms of the in-class experience, what I love about Mcdonough is that we're not a huge program, right? So we're 270 students, and so you really feel that you get to know your colleagues over the course of the 2 years. And when you're in class, you're sitting in class with about 50 to 60 students, and and so you feel that you have kind of that personal attention where you can get to know others, or you can also contribute in class discussions. So the classes are a mix of style. Some are case-based, some are more lecture, some are problem-solving based, and some are group project and presentation. So it really depends on the subject of the class that you're taking and how it's delivered. What I will say is that many of our professors have written the cases that you will be doing, and cases are a great way to learn because it really reinforces and allows you to understand best practices from other industries, or perhaps how other industries have not succeeded. And so I think you'll find that our professors provide both a very academically rigorous education, but also one that's very engaging as well.
That makes complete sense. And what I see as a theme throughout everything you're telling us is the focus on career and career opportunities for the students while they're in the program. And I think that's super important, especially for international students, because it's a huge investment of time and resources. You touched upon some of the facilities like case competitions, the Career Center. Is there any other facilities on campus that you want to tell us about? Like, is there, say, for example, an Entrepreneurship Center or any others facilities that you're proud of at Georgetown?
Yes, definitely. So we have 10 centers and initiatives here within the School of Business. So one of these centers is the Entrepreneurship Center. Others are perhaps the Real Estate Center or the Global Social Enterprise Initiative or the Financial Markets and Policies Initiative. So through these centers and initiatives, students are able to get involved in different speaker events that come to campus, perhaps different certificate programs to really supplement their education. So two exciting ones that I want to highlight are, one, the Consumer Analytics and Insights Certificate that we just launched. So for those of you who are wanting to do a deeper dive into analytics, this is a perfect certificate that you may end up wanting to pursue while you're here. And it's something that you can pursue as part of your MBA program. Additionally, the Entrepreneurship Center, since you mentioned it, is thriving. We have, many students that participate in the Entrepreneurship Center who are interested in all areas of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship can, yes, certainly mean starting your own business, but it can also mean working for a startup, working in innovation in a large established company, or perhaps working in venture capital. We've had success with students in all areas. We recently just hosted a Bark Tank competition. So if you're familiar with Shark Tank, that's a famous TV program here in the United States, we had our own version of it. And we had one of our alum donate money to the prize winner of a company called Hatch, which is a work incubator for working parents. And so we just had that competition. It was very successful. We also, Georgetown has placed first place 3 of the last 4 years in the venture capital investment competition, beating out, I'd like to be proud of, most of the other top 10 MBA programs, top 10 and 15 MBA programs. And so I'm really proud of that. Our students, know here, they come, they're trained well, they know how to win, and we have a lot of great resources to prepare our students for that. So if you like winning and participating in case competitions, Georgetown has a history and record of placing, and so this is a place to be for that.
Perfect. I think what you led to my next question, which is what would be how will a student pick Georgetown over others, or would you say who fits at Mcdonough in terms of what student traits, what background, what kind of community experience will a student be coming from if they're applying to Mcdonough?
Great. So in terms of the ideal student fit, we are looking for students most basically with a minimum of 2 years of work experience at the time that they would start the program. However, when you have about 3 to 5 years of work experience post-undergrad, that's really the ideal work experience. And the reason for that is that's what employers are looking for when they come to hire our MBA graduates, or MBA graduates in general, actually. From top programs. And so you want to get a little bit of work experience prior to coming to MBA. And then certainly you want to look at your GMAT or GRE score. We have a middle 80th percentile range, and then certainly an average range for both GPA as well as GMAT and GRE. When it comes to international transcripts and international GPA, we're very familiar with looking at international school GPAs. And so we don't translate it into a 4.0 scale. In fact, we look at whether you're first class with distinction, et cetera. So we look at how you're rated within your undergrad, and we take that into consideration. We look for people that want a global mindset, that want to be in Washington, D.C., which is a fantastically internationally diverse city. I'm not from D.C., I'm originally from Texas, and I've lived in D.C. for about 10 years now. And what I love about DC is that you see there's 177 embassies from around the world located here. You hear languages on the metro that you can't identify because it is so richly diverse. There's people from all walks of life that live here. And it's a wonderful city, both to live in, to go to school in, but also to potentially find jobs in post MBA. We're also looking for students who want to be challenged, who want a transformational experience, and who are willing to put in the time and the rigor to really transform themselves. And so those people, we call it grit. Or rolling up your sleeves to dig in and give 110% to your projects and your peers, and get involved in the community. So our building is thriving with energy every day of the week. There's always hundreds of students in our building that are either in class, and prepping for cases, prepping for interviews they have with employers, or participating in fun social events as well to get to know their peers. So we want people who are going to get involved in the Georgetown community because that community family feel is very important to us.
Thank you very much. I think the students who can relate with this are just dying to know about the application now. So that's going to be my next question about what does this year's application look like? If you could talk us through it.
Definitely. So our application is fairly standard for MBA applications. We require either a GMAT or GRE. There's no preference. You can take either of them. We require certainly an undergraduate transcript, at least 2 years of work experience, as I mentioned, at the time that you would start the program. Mm-hmm. We require 1 letter of recommendation. This should be from a previous or current supervisor. It doesn't matter if they're a high position within the company. We want someone who knows you well, who is really going to write in detail about your candidacy. Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 essays. One is a written essay. And what I love about this essay is it perfectly represents our brand. We ask you as an applicant to describe a defining moment when you have been challenged outside of your comfort zone and you have exceeded expectations. So think about that time that you've been given a project or responsibility at work and you didn't know if you could handle it. You know, it was above your level of responsibility, but you were given it and you dug in and you exceeded expectations and you succeeded. Or perhaps there was a personal experience where you were challenged outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you summited a mountain, maybe you ran a marathon. You know, what are those things that really pushed you to succeed? Because that's what's going to happen here at Mcdonough. You're going to come in with fantastic accomplishments, and with the resources and opportunities that you have here at Mcdonough, you're going to be pushed outside of your comfort zone, but through that, you're going to exceed the expectations that you have of yourself. So that's our written essay. And then we have 1 video essay where we ask you to introduce yourself to your peers. And this is meant to really provide you the opportunity to brand yourself. Who do you want to be known as? Are you known as the person that wants to go into fintech and also the person that's an avid football player? Do you want to be known as the person who wants to go into consulting or transition into investment banking, and you also love to play cricket? So what is it that you want to personally brand yourself as? And that's what the video essay is for. If you may be required to take either TOEFL or IELTS if the medium of instruction at your undergraduate institution was not in English. And then certainly there is an interview by invitation only. So once we've reviewed your file, we start extending interview invitations to our candidates. And in fact, one of our admissions directors is flying to India today to interview our round 2 applicants in Mumbai and Delhi. And so we do travel to India during certain times of the year as well to interview. So that's a little bit about our application process.
That sounds great. And I think it takes home the value grit that you mentioned before, that the students need to reflect on when writing the essay. Another category of students we get are reapplicants, which basically means that people who are committed to Georgetown but have been not successful before with the application. Any advice you would have for reapplicants to the Mcdonough MBA program?
What I would say is that we love reapplicants. And in fact, over 50% of our reapplicants are successfully admitted into the program. So I think what is important to us is that reapplicants, they take a step back and determine what was it about their application that perhaps needed to be improved upon. Was it that they just needed an additional year of work experience? Maybe they needed additional responsibilities at work. Maybe they needed to retake their GMAT or GRE, or perhaps brush up on some quantitative skills. Or maybe when they reflected back and read their essay or looked at their resume, they realized that it wasn't the best representation of themselves, and so they just need to edit it a little bit. Additionally, we love reapplicants who've also reached out to us and determined how best they can review and revise their application. And so again, we have successful reapplicants every year, and it's something that I highly encourage all students to do if they don't get into their top choice school that first year. Additionally, I encourage reapplicants to always apply round 1. That gives you the best chance of time in case perhaps you're not admitted that first round, you have chance to improve as you go throughout the rounds, the second and third round as well.
Thank you so much. I think what strikes to me is the statistic you shared with us that more than 50% of reapplicants are successful with their second time application. Another question that we get a lot and students are interested in is financial aid, especially for international students. If you could tell us a few numbers on that topic, and also what kind of scholarship opportunities are available, especially to international students.
Definitely. So we have merit scholarships that we provide in partial to full amount. So every year we have a pool of scholarship funds and we provide that to students. In some years we provide more scholarships in less amounts, and in some years we provide less scholarships in more amounts. It frankly depends on what our class profile looks like and what our application looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we don't designate or have a set quota between domestic versus international students. We have an end goal in mind of building a class with the most competitive students, and we scholarship in a way that we feel will allow us to get there. So that's merit scholarships. Additionally, and you don't have to do anything additional to apply for those merit scholarships. It's included as part of your application. Additionally, we have a list of resources on our website for international private lenders that provide more loans instead of scholarships. So those would have to be repaid, but there is a great list of those on our website that I highly encourage students to look at as well.
Perfect. Any statistics of international students receiving financial aid that you could share with the viewers?
We don't actually track the international versus domestic statistics because it's not something that we even consider when we are giving out scholarships.
Okay.
So we give out scholarships to students regardless of their citizenship, again, with the end goal in mind of creating a competitive class. And so we don't even actually track that amount because it's kind of we give it out to students regardless of their citizenship status, if that makes sense.
That sounds great. That's perfect.
Yep.
And I'm sure viewers will be relieved to hear that. It takes us to, I mean, you've spoken in length about the career opportunities or sort of career guidance that the students receive while they're in the program. Specifically, is there any support for students going back, who decide to go back to their home country? And you mentioned that they will be able to use the services of the career placement office even like after graduation. So if you could talk a little about how does it look like, and also if there's any number, like any statistics that you can share with us, I would love.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually very excited to share these statistics because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there today related to, hiring and international students and the job opportunities. And there's a lot of anxiety. And so I actually brought some statistics from this past year that I wanted to reference for you all. So sure. Of our last year's graduating class, there were 42 companies that hired international students. So 42. So they may have hired multiple students, but there was a large, significant number of students that hired international students. So as an international student, you don't have to feel that you're going to be forced into a list of only 3 companies that perhaps hire international students. There's a significant number of them. 88% of our international students received offers within 3 months of graduation. And 72% of our international students accepted jobs in the U.S. So if you think about that, we have roughly 1/3 of our students, and we have a student body of about 270. So approximately 1/3 of those students, just under 100, 72% of them received a job in the U.S. The other students perhaps may have wanted to work globally or wanted to go back to their home country. Maybe they went back to a family business. Maybe they were required to go back or sponsored to go back to their home country or to their home company. So So the statistics are positive. I think what's also positive is that we have 14 career coaches that work with our MBA students. So I would challenge you all to ask any of the other schools that you are applying to how many dedicated career coaches they have. We have a lot. We have typically above what is the competitive average. So 14 career coaches specialized in different industries. One of those specifically works with international students and understands the H-1B visa process. We do know that while there are bills in both sides of Congress here in the U.S., nothing has changed with the H-1B visa process. So I think there's a lot of anxiety about that, but nothing has changed. And so continue to reach out to us if you do have questions about that process, because we are staying well informed of what's happening. I think that's another benefit of being in Washington, D.C. is we are in the city where the policy is happening, and so we understand and can keep you informed of that process. We welcome international students here. Again, Georgetown is in the middle of a very internationally rich city, and so you are going to feel completely welcomed and supported coming to Georgetown. And I think it's important for me to say that as well.
Thank you so much. I think, as you shared rightly, there is some anxiety in the air for applicants to the US in particular. That sort of takes us to the final question that I want to leave the audience with. If you had one piece of advice for the students who are applying to this program, what would it be?
My one piece of advice is that you will be changing the course and direction of your life. This is a degree and a school and a city that is going to open up doors and opportunities for you that you can't even imagine at this point. I've worked here long enough and have interacted with enough alumni and students and faculty members to know that we have a heart here at Georgetown, and we are committed to your transformational experience. And so if you do have apprehension about which degree to attend, which country to attend in, just know that you're joining a global Georgetown alumni network that is supportive of your success and will be supportive throughout your career. And so apply, talk with as many current students and alum as you can. We have current students from India that would love to speak with you. We have current student ambassadors from around the world that would love to chat with you about their experiences. And so don't hesitate to reach out and use us as a resource, because we want competitive candidates just like you to join our network and our community, and want to provide you all of that information that's going to help you to make an informed decision.
All right, I think that's a great way to end our webinar. Please reach out to Shelly, whose contact information you can find on the school's website. And for any services that you'd like to access from ReachIvy, please look at our website and you'll find the contact information there. I'd like to thank Shelly on behalf of ReachIvy and all our viewers for joining us today from DC, and hope to talk to you soon.